April. For anyone that doesn't know who I am, I'm Brock Tunnicliffe. I'm from City West Water in strategic projects, and I'm the Edge Technologies program lead. Go to the next slide. Yeah, so today I'll be talking about some of the projects that I did in the last update and how we're responding as far as COVID-19 and how that affects us. So I'll be touching on augmented reality. Previous update, I was talking about the remote assist project, the VR training platform, and ROVs for condition monitoring. If we can go to the next slide. So the IWN Edge Technologies program is looking at how can new and emerging technologies solve business problems. So we're obviously adapting to a new world of social distancing and working from home. So several changes have been made to existing projects in response to COVID-19. The augmented reality remote assist was fast-tracked and scaled up dramatically. There's been changes to the VR training platform and tours project, as well as the ROV project. Yeah, and there's me wearing a head-mounted display called the RealWear HMT1, which I'll be talking about further as we go along. Go to the next slide. Yeah, so this is similar to the original slide from last update. The RealWear HMT1, which is an augmented reality head-mounted display, is a bit of a game changer for field support. It allows video communication anywhere in real time. It provides immersive support, so labeling and diagram displays. It's hands-free operation. It just uses voice commands for everything, and there's efficiency improvements that can be made through the use of this technology. If we go to the next slide. So there's some changes that we made to the augmented reality project in response to COVID-19. I'm assuming this is the same at all water utilities, but the majority of our workforce at the moment is working from home or severely impacted due to social distancing requirements. So we've revised the business case of the augmented reality remote assist project to fast track some of the things that we're going to be looking at in the next financial year. In response to social distancing and working from home requirements. So we've ordered 2 headsets now. We're looking already at the software solutions. Initially, we were only going to be investigating some basic remote assistance capabilities, but I've engaged with Microsoft and a company called Hindsight, and I'm pretty excited about this. Microsoft is actually running a beta test of integration into the HMT1 headsets as part of their COVID-19 response. So this beta trial is only open to high value COVID-19 use cases. And so far so good. It looks like we're on board. So once we get the devices, we'll be able to load up that beta APK onto the headsets and run with Microsoft Teams, which our entire business is using on a day-to-day basis to complete all their work. Most of the working from home is being done through MS Teams now. Hindsight Industries are another platform, software as a service provider for the RealWear HMT1s amongst other devices. They will be giving us 3 months of free access to their platform. And that platform will allow us to do things like geo-referenced or geolocated work instructions, being able to go to a job and then within GPS bounds, it can bring up a job that's based for that particular area. So whether it be work instructions on how to maintain a pump, or whether it be a fault or an incident out in the field that field workers need to go to, they won't need to do anything. They'll just need to rock up on site and they'll have access to the information. So we're fast tracking this big time, set up and deployment in April. So in the next 2 weeks, we'll be deploying those devices out into the field and implementing some of these use cases that we were looking more long-term at. I mentioned the geolocated work instructions, and one of the abilities of the device, maintenance and evidence gathering. The device has a camera situated on there, which you can
Rock, we've lost your audio at the moment.
Just wondering if his mic's out of battery and he can't hear us either.
Cameron, do you want to just end the presentation for a second? Maybe that'll grab his attention.
He's cable, not battery.
I flicked.
Sorry,
Rock
back in
text.
business.
Oh, yeah,
Sorry.
good.
How long was I talking to myself?
A little bit. I think if you go back to, I think remote support and mentoring, your third last dot point was.
Okay. So yeah, might be repeating myself a little bit here, but yeah, been very excited about this project. We've been working very hard over the last few weeks on this, and yeah, some of the abilities that will give us as far as remote support and mentoring, we can see in the pictures in the screen here. We've got someone working in the field, and then a subject matter expert accessing that vision from home on their device. So then they're able to get eyes on the field and provide support to those in need. It will also allow for geolocated work instructions. So being able to geo-reference a point, a job, could be an incident or a maintenance request. When they rock up on site, if they're in that geo-reference bounds, they can get access to the relevant work instructions or procedures that they need to for that. And on an added benefit to that is the maintenance and evidence gathering. Did you guys hear me talk about Microsoft Teams and Hindsight?
Yep.
Yeah, cool. All right, so we'll go to the next slide. Sorry about the technical difficulties. My kids throw this headset around a lot, so it's starting to play up. I need to order Yeah, so the next project I'll talk about is the VR training platform. Originally, I was looking at several free and paid options, and was looking for something with a bit more scalability and capabilities for analytics. So we're looking at platforms like Cooler, InstaVR, YouTube VR, VR, and Warp VR. A lot of them were either costly or had limited options. For example, I've used VR before, and the limitations were that you could only have one experience per account. So very limiting, and I had my asset tour on there. So it was not really open for any more experiences or tours to be put on there. So I was looking at Warp VR, but I've had some developments as far as COVID-19, so I'll go to the next slide. Okay. Hopefully I don't lose audio again. Yeah, so due to shift in focus and budgets, I've moved that across pretty much to the AR project that we're working on. We've reworked this project to suit the current environment. So just in the last 3 weeks, I've been approved as a verified creator for VRTV, which enables now the creation of unlimited virtual tours and experiences at no cost. So free platform, it's going to be suitable for, say, non-sensitive training, things where we're not talking about custom information or critical assets. So it's going to be pretty useful for some generic training as well as community engagement. And if anyone does have any 360 photos or video that they would like to have a play around with, shoot them through to me. We can have a chat, and I can host a virtual tour for free, and it's really easy to build. I've also got commitment from VU Polytechnics, their Wynnum Tech School, which we've been working with recently, to utilise their professional grade 360 camera equipment for creation of content. So they have a camera called the Insta360 Pro 2, and that's an $8,000 camera. I've used it to do a virtual tour of that school, and it's it's order of magnitudes better than the cameras that I've used previously. So not only are we able to save now on the production costs significantly because it's free, we've also got a platform that we can use for free for training. So it's allowing for sharing of virtual tours, for non-sensitive inductions, and for training to public industry partners. So it has a wide range of compatibilities, this platform. It's usable in the browser, on your mobile phone, and all VR formats. So that's not just the Steam VR or the Gear VR, the Oculus Go's or anything like that. It's all of them, absolutely all of them. So there's no sort of compatibility issues with anything. If you've got a device, you can view these tours. So yeah, it's been really good. And so the pictures here, there's a picture of the platform. There's some of the compatible products. So screenshot from a virtual tour that we have that talks about recycled water, sewage, stormwater, potable water, and it's missing something on there. No, there's another recycled water button to the left. And on the right-hand side, there's actually a QR code. So you could have a QR code on a piece of paper or whatever, and someone can scan that and it will take them straight to the tours. So it's been pretty good. We could go to the next slide. The ROVs, condition monitoring. So we were talking originally about using ROVs for tank cleaning and condition monitoring, looking at all different range of devices from $2,000 devices to $30,000 devices. It's a competitive market, so there's a lot of really low cost devices now. It's really driven down a lot of the costs. We had a trial nominated for some devices on some recycled water and potable water storage tanks with we've been talking more specifically to Commercial ROV Australia. Due to recent events, we don't really have the capacity to be inviting a number of people to our sites to demonstrate this, because we'd need at least 10 people, not including myself, at the site to do those work. So it was impacted and it wasn't looking good. But I'll bring that to the next slide, and we'll go to what we've done now. So rather than get an in-house an external demonstrator to come in and test that out, we've decided to just go ahead and purchase a device. The ROV selected for trial is for a storage tank at our West Werribee treatment plant. We're obviously doing that in-house now. We've got a disinfection requirement established for the ROV, and the ROV is actually a really low cost one. It's less than $5,000. It's actually just over $3,000. And one thing close to my heart is that this device actually has VR head tracking, so you can put a headset on and look around it, and will actually control the device that you have in the tank. We're going to be trialing it for assessing internal conditions of water storage tanks, and as I mentioned, the initial trials were impacted due to social distancing requirements and the working from home requirements that we're currently facing. So the device that we're purchasing, hopefully, anyway, we were waiting for your approval, is the device on the right-hand side here. And it's a pretty small ROV. I think it's called the QYC5-ish. And this model has the VR head tracking features. That's about it on that one. I think that might be just about the end of my presentation. So yeah, I thought I'd keep it limited to the three of the more exciting things we're working on at the moment. Does anyone have any questions on any of those projects or anything else?
Brock, it's Kevin here. That's fantastic, and
love what you're trying. And at Melbourne Water, we have just started preparing some 360-degree imagery for virtual tours as well.
Yep.
One of the limitations we found was where the data would be hosted if it was a cloud service. And, you know, Matterport's a very well-known product for that, used in real estate and the like. But it was hosted in the US, so it was quite, you know, it was restrictive. We would have loved to use that. Have you had issues around data hosting?
No, like we haven't been putting anything sensitive on there. It's pretty general sort of high level stuff. So as far as, it's not like we're inside treatment plant and we're showing everyone all the control cabinets and anything fancy. It's more high level, explaining some of the wider schemes and like what a meter looks like, what a fire service looks like, explaining a bit about them. So it's really, there's no risk there. If a customer or general public was to look at that tour, they might learn something, and it's really no harm, no foul as far as we're concerned.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. Our use case was around providing information. One of them use cases was about providing that imagery for assessing some of our essential safety management requirements, so lighting, egress, and so it did go into some sensitive operational areas. Yeah.
So if you could keep it somewhat generic, I mean, I'm happy to show you what they can come out like on this platform, and I can make it unlisted, so it's not coming out. It's kind of like YouTube. You can have it private or unlisted, where it won't come up in general search fields. But as it's not a like a paid enterprise level platform, probably not suitable for really sensitive stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's sometimes not an issue depending on what you want to do. If it's say fire safety, or if it's something generic about assets that are publicly viewable anyway, then it's probably not an issue, or it isn't an issue if anyone was to look at it. And that could also mean opportunities to share training and virtual tours between water utilities as well. So that's something to think about, I think.
Yeah, cool.
Awesome.
And apologies for the audio mishap during that. I thought I was all set and charged, but yeah, if it can go wrong, it will. And by the next update, I'll have a better headset.